Hi folks, this is the third leg of our series of installing the Ubuntu Linux on an old laptop. So in the first leg, we replaced the hard drive inside the computer with a solid state drive. In the second leg, we've made the starting or the booting USB stick to load or to install the new operating system. And in the third leg today, we're going to see exactly as you can see here on the additional screen and on the computer screen, the Ubuntu. How did we get here? Just for the information to know where we started from, if you take a look at the system information, we have a standard 10-year-old Dell laptop, 5440 with 8 gig of RAM, 480 gigabyte of space on the solid state drive, and a Intel i5 4310 with 2 cores and 4 threads. And as you can see, there is already installed right now Ubuntu 24.04. So again, let's see how did we get here. Okay, so you want to start installing the Linux on your 10-year-old laptop. A couple of months ago, I prepared a USB stick, a bootable USB stick with the Ubuntu 24.04. Then I also prepared in the last video another one with the Ubuntu 25.10, just in case. And if you lend an ear to some other installations, of course you can find them. And here is an example. This is a Linux Mint. Both editions, Cinnamon and Mate, are very decent ones to be installed. And I'm going to start with the Ubuntu, okay? But the temptation is to press the start button of your computer. But let's see what happens. As soon as you see the logo, the message is going to appear on your screen because invalid partition table, for instance, but it may be another one like no bootable drive was found and so on, because 2 videos ago I replaced the hard drive on that old laptop with a solid state drive, but the solid state drive was blank, so there is nothing on it. So then, before we are able to do anything with our computer, even if you insert your USB memory stick, this is going to be the message. We have to take some precautions. The first one is to enter the setup of our laptop. You press the power button, and as soon as you see the logo appearing, you are going to press F2. Depending on what kind of computer you have, it may not always be F2, but in our situation is. And you have access to the setup. So I'm going to take the changes here in order they appear. First thing you check, in advanced boot options, you have to see this, enable legacy option ROMs. Because if you don't, you go here up and you won't have access to see the bootable devices on the list right here. Next step you do, as you can see the order of the bootable devices right now, the order starts with the internal hard drive or solid state drive, whatever it is, and you need the USB to be in the top. So that's the first thing you do. You put the USB in the top because the intention is to start booting from the USB. Next place you go is going to be on the security right here, and you look down until you see the famous TPM, the famous Trusted Platform Management module, and here you disable, you deactivate. As you can see here, it's already done, and then you go one more position in the secure boot, and here you have to have it disabled exactly as it is here. If everything is like that, you pick up your Ubuntu 24.04 USB, the bootable one, you insert it in the computer like this, you say apply changes right here. I don't press on exit because I want to show you two more precautions to take before you do that. If you have access, you have to connect your computer to a wired network instead of wireless. As soon as everything is going to be done, you can connect it to the wireless, no problem. But at the beginning, better is to connect your computer to a wired network. And the last precaution, if you used to use all the time a wireless keyboard, please this time, either you connect the cable on the wireless keyboard, the USB cable, or you just use a standard keyboard which is wired. And after everything goes okay, then there's not a problem anymore. Then you can say apply and exit. Remember, the memory stick is already inserted in the computer. And now you just wait, okay? As you can see, the logo appears again, but this time the system is going to be booted from the USB. And the first option is try or install Ubuntu. This is what I'm doing, okay? So not only you can install Ubuntu, but before you do, you can check all kinds of little setups or changes, or to become a bit comfortable with adjusting the settings on the Ubuntu without necessarily installing it on your solid state drive. You can check everything right from the USB. So it's going to take a while. You should take your time, make a coffee, a tea or something, and it's going to take a couple of minutes before the system is going to be loaded from the memory stick. So we just wait. So a couple of minutes later, here we are. We start to do a basic, very basic setup. I pick up the English language next, and then, just because I want you to be able to see everything better, in the accessibility, I'm going to show you where it is later again in Ubuntu. We go in Seeing, and here I'm going to pick up larger text just to make sure. That's it. So say next. English keyboard. Used wire connection. That's it. It's a wired connection I have right now. I skip the installation for the updates right now because I'm loading on the memory stick anyway. I'm going to say skip. And now is the actual choice. Do you really want to install Ubuntu or just try it? If you pick up on try Ubuntu, like I do now, the Ubuntu is now started from the USB stick. And as you can see, there are plenty of icons here on the left side, but you don't worry about this. Take a look. You click the right of the mouse, you say display settings. It's gonna go just a bit slower because remember, everything is starting from the USB stick. There is nothing yet installed on your hard drive, on your solid state drive. I'm going here on appearance, because otherwise it's a bit tricky. And I inserted an additional memory stick because I want to change my picture in the background. So I'm gonna pick up a picture generated by the AI just to change the original one. That's okay. So then, next thing I do, once this is done, and you can load any number of pictures you want, there's not a problem. If you go on mouse and the touchpad, this is only useful if you are left-handed, because the standard installation comes for right-handed. So there's nothing else you should do right here. And I want to change the actual size of the pointer on the screen. So it's not in the mouse and the touchpad location as you expect. It's somewhere in accessibility. And you go again in seeing. And in seeing is already checked large text as we did before. But if we go right here, cursor size, you see this? Cursor size is actually referring to the pointer. I'm going to pick up a bigger one just to make sure you can see, you see? So this one's done, is done. So now, last thing I'm doing here, oh, not the last, one before the last, when you ask about, I don't ask for software updates. Here you have, of course, a basic information about what you have inside your computer right now. I have 8 gig of RAM. I have 480 gig of solid state drive. Okay, so same thing if you ask for system details. And I have a Ubuntu 24.04 waiting to be installed on the computer. Okay, so far so good. Now, last thing I'm doing now, Ubuntu desktop, sorry. You see these icons on the left side, okay? If you want them to look exactly like you had them in Windows before, you take a look at the position here on the screen for these icons. Now they are aligned to the left. I can put them in the button, so they look pretty similar to the Windows one, excepting there is no such a thing like the start button like in the Windows. The thing you won't notice right here, because the start button is missing, is going to be the power button. Is going to be located right here where you see a little symbol for the battery. And if you click on it, here you have the items related to the power mode. We're going to use them soon, okay? So, position on the screen. You want them in the button. You want them aligned on the right side, okay? So, exactly as you wish, okay? So, at this point, I'm not interested where they are. I'm just clicking on the power and power off. So now is going to be the moment of truth. I'm not expecting any errors to appear, because if they were, they would have appeared already when loading from the memory stick. So here we go again. It's the same screen as you've seen before because the system is still loaded from the memory stick. Voila. Good. About 10 minutes later, we received the message we expected. The Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. LTS stands for long-term support. You're going to be supported for at least the next 5 years. Is installed and ready to use. So, restart. Okay guys, so I left the best to the end. When we started this 2 videos ago, and I was using a kitchen timer to see how many seconds was taking for the Windows 10 to load on the computer. So until you were seeing icons on the screen, you could click with the mouse to open an application. You were somewhere around 3 minutes and 30 something seconds, you know. In the meantime, we did 2 big improvements. First, we replaced the hard drive from inside the computer with a solid state drive, and second, we installed Linux Ubuntu 24.04 instead of the Windows 10. And now you know all the reasons behind it. So now I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to monitor the number of seconds is going to take until we're going to see the picture on the screen to press with the mouse on an icon. So from a desktop, start. You won't going to take that long. This is why I can afford to hold that timer in front of you, because we're going to see when the first picture appears, and we're going to be able to see if there is any difference compared to where we started everything. Okay? It won't take too long. And this is where your computer is going to receive a second life. So if I'm taking a look, 35 seconds. So compared to 3 minutes and 30 something seconds to only 35 seconds, and this is a 10-year-old laptop, imagine. So we can say we did the job. I'm gonna put a sticker here. We have Linux inside. Everything is done. We can use it. And if I was able to do this, any of you can do it. So the 3 steps if required. Replace the hard drive if you don't already have a solid state. Put a solid state inside. Check if you have enough RAM inside. Mine only has 8 gig, but it's good enough to run it. If you have more than 8 gig, you can afford to update this one from the standard Ubuntu to the Ubuntu Studio. And then you're going to be able to use the LTS long-term support edition and to make it the Ubuntu Pro with a 5-year support when you call for any kind of problem you may have about your Linux. Plenty of forums of discussions, and you're going to be very happy because you didn't throw this computer to the garbage. Now, given the fact that, among other things that happened lately, the American company Micron decided to not manufacture anymore in 2026 memory modules, so the RAM modules. They are going to focus only on data centers, and because of the explosion of the data centers, what's going to happen? They ask more and more RAM to use. So for that reason, the price of the computers and the brand new computers is going to go up. So why to not give a second life to this old one and to still have it in use for at least a couple of more years and working much faster and without the hassle of the Microsoft Windows 10, 11, and just having a nice Ubuntu. Or if you don't like it, of course, as I was doing it, I was preparing other memory sticks, like you can choose, for instance, the Linux Mint or another distribution you like, and you are going to get the same beautiful result like this. So thank you very much for today, and see you back for the next one. Bye-bye.